In today's market review, we're going to look at the apartment condo market. We're talking about low-rise and high-rise apartment condominiums downtown and all around the city.
To help make our stats a little bit more relevant to you, I'm going to divide up the city into different quadrants. We're going to do the inner city, the northwest section, the southwest, and what we're talking is west of Sarcee, because we would consider anything east of Sarcee to be inner city. The deep south, which would be Fish Creek, Chaparral, Mahogany, all of these south areas. And lastly, we'll do the northeast. At the end of the video, we'll go over the whole market so you can compare how your numbers match up with the overall. Okay, so in July we had 249 sold listings per apartment condos, and the average sale price for those condos was $340 on the median and $374 on the average, the overall average. And the median means that's where most of the buyers, where the heavily weighted amount of buyers were. So $408 a square foot was where that was at. Now, if we compare that to last month in June, we could see that $408 was the median and $429 was the average. So I would just go ahead and say that the market hasn't changed a lot, and we've got an average sale price higher in June than we had in July. But average sale prices are a little bit tricky because they don't mean a lot. It might mean that more people bought more expensive homes, so that's not really an indicator. But the average square footage price really is. Now, the market was a little bit faster in June as well, meaning that probably sold a little bit quicker. Now, I want to compare that to last year. We can see that median price was $360 to $372. So that tells us that people are definitely getting more money for their condos this year than last year. Now, if we want to look at how the inventory supply is, let's look at the fact that in August here we have 683 active listings. Important to note that these listings, the buyers were actually looking for properties that were priced between, on the median, for most buyers were looking for properties around $349 to $384. But when we look at the active inventory that's available, they're asking about $379 on the median and $504, where the buyers were looking for a little bit less. So with sales declining and what's left on the market, you can see that the buyers that are, or the sellers that are left out there, are asking a little bit more. They've got a little bit larger square footage units, but they're asking significantly more per square foot when we look at it from that point of view, and that may or may not work as we go into the fall months. So now we'll move on to the northwest section. Now in July here in the northwest, we had 64 sold listings, and those listings were priced at $273,000 on average here, and they were selling for $267, 97% of asking price, and the average was $310, very close to the median price of $309. Now, how that compares to the month before, 66 sold listings in June, and those were $314 a square foot on average, and $309 as the median. So not much change there, really. And when we look at last year, 63 sold listings last year, so the market's very, very similar to last year up there, and except for the price, we've got an average sale price of $278 was the median price where most buyers are buying, and $277 was the average compared to this year, which was quite a bit higher. So we got about $20 a square foot more, even more than that, almost $30 a square foot. So the market's definitely up from last year, even for July. Now we compare when we say what's the inventory happening that's available now. 99 active listings, just about a third more than sold last month, is a low amount of inventory for apartment condos. So that's a healthy market there. And the only thing that we can see here, though, is that the average sale price here is, the asking price is a little bit higher. Not too bad. $279 is the list price for the median group, and $272 is the list price last month. So that's not so far out of whack. So the sales will probably continue to be strong there, as the sellers aren't asking overly high prices. Having said that, the price per square foot, so the condo units that are left over, they're smaller units, priced at $325 a foot on the median price, and $329 on the list price. So they're a little bit closer than some of the other markets that we've seen. So it may continue up there to be a good, healthy market for condos. certainly the pricing isn't so far out of whack as far as some of the communities. Now we're going to move to the southwest section. We're talking west of Sarcee, Aspen, these areas, Signal Hill, and so forth. Now in the southwest, 29 sold listings for the month of July. Those were priced on average for those apartment condos. They were priced at $313. They were selling on average at $305, about 97% of the asking price. And the square footage prices here were $317 and $318. Now, if you want to compare that to last month, wow, we had a median price here, 29 sold listings in June, and the prices were a little higher. $325 a square foot was where most of the buyers were buying, and $318 was the average, same. But where most of the buyers were buying a little bit more expensive units, and they were actually a little bit bigger. So that's interesting to note. Compare that to last year, 20 sales in July of 2013, priced at $288. So the prices are definitely way up for the area. And actually, when you look at the sizes of the units, people were getting a lot bigger units last year than they are this year. So looking at our inventory supply, we can see 50 available listings up there, almost double compared to what sold last month. And the pricing of this product is a little bit of a stretch. So we got the buyers looking at properties between $289 and $313. That's where they're looking, and the sellers are on at $317 to $353. The square footage is also what's left remaining on the market, a little bit bigger, and they're asking quite a bit more per square foot. $334 is the median price, compared to $322 is where they were looking last month. So what's left on the market is a little bit richer per square foot. We'll see how they make out with their sales and see if this inventory, as far as a little bit, I guess it's not an oversupply, because even 29 sales is, if we could continue that for August, would be pretty good. And now we'll move to the Deep South. Evergreen, Silverado, Cranston, Mackenzie Town, all these south areas. Now in this Deep South area, we had 75 listings for them sold in the month of July, and they were selling at $302 a square foot on the median and $305 as the average. And our average sale price was $272, but the median was $253 down there. Now, if you want to compare that to last month, 61 sold listings for the month of June. It's interesting that this is one of the few markets that actually had more sales in July than it did in June. And when we look at the prices are also up for that area as well. They had $294 as their average sale price, and they're up to $302 for the median group. That's pretty impressive, actually. When we compare that to last year, 53 sold listings for July of last year, priced down at $264 on the median price and $273. So prices definitely are up from last year down in the Deep South area. When we look at the inventory available, we have 114 available listings and 75 sold. So that's it's a pretty close race, actually. That's a healthy amount of inventory for buyers to continue to look. Having said that, when we look at what's available, it looks like that all the units are slightly smaller square footage. The good news is that the pricing of what they're asking is right on par with where they've been selling. So that's going to continue to be a pretty good market for buyers and for sellers. It's going to continue to be pretty active. And when we look at what's available, what they're asking per square foot, they're asking a little bit more than the previous prices per square foot. So it might continue to be pretty good when you look at the list prices being right where the buyers expect them. But the buyers who bought last month are going to find that the value is a little bit better. They probably got a little bit bigger units than there's currently available in the market today. And next we'll look at the northeast section of the city. Now, looking at our northeast section, 26 sold listings in the month of July for the northeast here, and they were priced at $220. $220 is the average sale asking price, and the average sale price was around $213. Now a little bit lower on the sales to list price up here, but when we look at what's sold in June, there's more sales, 31 sales up there in June, and those pricings were a little bit higher, so better prices for June than we have in the last month of July. Now we compare that to last year. 18 sold listings in July of last year, and they were priced at 234 and 233. So wow, what a change in pricing. People are definitely getting more for their condos up in the Northeast. Now we can look at the inventory supply. We can see 73 sold listings. This is almost 3 months supply, which means that there's a lot of active listings for the buyers to look at up there. And the good news is that the pricing on what's left up there is not so bad, really. We compare the sales we had last month. They're actually asking less than was available. So I think people up there are kind of aware of the competition, because what's on the market is currently larger, and it's priced at 224, average list price at 218, and that's pretty good compared to what actually sold. That's actually less than what sold last month. So it looks like the sellers up in the Northeast are actually fairly pragmatic about what they want to do up there. People are on the know about what's happening. So I think there's going to be some activity up there, and it's going to continue to be some sales. Having said that, there's quite an oversupply up there. Now this is the overall market, apartment condo market for all of Calgary, and this is the inventory supply we have in different groups, just to let you know. So if you're looking for a property that's priced below $150,000 for an apartment style condo, you've got 7 sales last month and just 4 available. So those are, that's a tough market for you to buy in. If you're a seller, good news for you, just throw it up. It's going to get action for sure. This $150,000 to $200,000 group, that's a pretty close race. My view is, that you also have to be pretty pragmatic. You have to get, on top of that if you want to buy in that price group. Now, when you're looking at 200 to 250, though, you've got about 100 more listings available. Now, this is not area specific, so some of the areas are going to be different, but overall, this is the kind of thing you're looking at. And when you're up to 300,000, you've got kind of got your pick here too. You got good variety there, and you got good variety all the way. So, as far as the market's concerned, this is a fairly tight race. Of course, it's in the Northeast, that wouldn't count, but 61 to 88, there's in that 400 and 450 group, there's not that much available compared to some of the other groups. And of course, when we go over 1.5 million for apartment style condos, these would be penthouses, 35 available and just 2 sales. So if you were a higher end seller, you got to be aware of this, that it may take quite a bit of time to sell it. Not too much properties available or selling in these other areas.
Realize that the market news I've just given you is based on the whole market. There's a whole other study we can do on the area that you're looking to buy or sell in. Your area may not move according to the whole market, and realize that average sale prices don't mean that a specific home would go up that percentage based on the whole market. Average sale prices sometimes mean that people are buying more expensive homes. Back when I started selling real estate, over 90% of the homes I sold were expired listings or homes that other agents couldn't sell. During that time, I learned from my clients the many frustrations that they had selling their homes.
Yeah, we had the home about, twice with some other agencies, and they couldn't sell the house. We don't know why. It's a beautiful house.
There was not any interest shown at all in our home by anybody that came and viewed it.
Too many of the other MLS realtors who'd come show the house, they wouldn't have a clue.
We didn't get any feedback on our showing.
Last time our house was in the market about 3 months, and we've never got any offers.
It's for these reasons I have a very detailed approach on the way I sell my clients' homes. But here's what my clients had to say.
So we tried to put our townhouse up for sale October of last year, and it just wasn't selling, you could say. We had some show homes in the beginning of October, and a lot of people came, but no one really made a really decent offer, and we weren't getting any feedback. After the last 2 months, about November and December, we had no showings, no one was coming, and we weren't really hearing from our real estate agent anymore. So come January, a friend of the family told us about Trent and how, that he had helped them sell their house, and
Don't forget how we got that in the mail.
And how we got in the mail a pamphlet that said, guaranteed we can sell your home. In which case, we both decided we'd call Trent.
And give Trent a call. And Trent came in the very first day that he came to see us, and he said, well, let's look at the market. Let's see where we're sitting at in the market, and let's make a plan of how we're going to put this up so that it's more appealing than everything else in the market in that kind of zone that people are looking for houses, in that price range, in that category, being a townhouse. And basically what ended up happening was, as soon as the house went up, exactly what we had predicted with Trent was going to happen happened. And in a very, very short period of time,
I think it was like one day.
I think it was one day.
Yeah.
We had an offer the first day and took it. Trent gave us extremely knowledgeable advice on how to deal with the initial lower offer, and it resulted in us maintaining a lot more of our value in our house.
One of the things that I noticed was really nice about how our house sold was that there was a video that was taken for YouTube, and when we went to go see it, we fell in love with our home again, not to lie. It just, it put our home in a light where you wanted to live in it. It talked about, you know, the great things that we loved about our home when we first walked in. Just 2 blocks down, there's another house for sale that didn't have that quality of videoing, and it didn't show the aspects of the home which we fell in love with, which we found that other people did. And watching the video, you realize that we boosted so much more of our traffic coming into the house. People who were looking at it, they already were interested before they even showed up. And right away, just from the first day, we had, you know, 3 or 4 people walk through that all wanted to make offers. And assuming if we wanted to stay on the market longer, we could have easily sold the house
5, 6
times over.
Well, I think what the commercial does versus just having an MLS listing with pictures and then someone has to call and then come and see it is it takes the same thing that companies do, but he does it for you on an individual basis. Companies, when they want to sell something, you see it on the commercial while you're watching the NHL playoffs or something, and you go, this is awesome, I want it. And that's exactly what his commercial does. You see it and boom, you want it.
We had our home listed for 4 months in the fall, and it just didn't sell. We had a little interest at first, but then it just died down. After the new year, we got some information in the mail from Trent, and he was able to show us the advantages of video marketing, and he showed off our home to its best advantage. You know, it's not a show home, it's not a new home, but it's a comfortable home. And he was able to show that and get that information out to lots of people. And we had so many showings. We had, you know, 1 or 2 showings a day. Some days we had so many showings we weren't even able to come home for meals. There was that much interest in our home. Another thing Trent was able to show us was that the market was actually good in November when we had our home listed before, and that was when there was no interest shown in ours. And there were homes selling in this neighborhood for actually less than what we got for ours just this past week. We sold it in about 4 weeks with Trent, and we're really excited to be, we got a price that we're happy with, and moving on.
This is just 2 examples, but in 13 years of marketing homes, I've got hundreds of examples of turnaround situations. High and low-end homes, fixer-uppers, show homes. I've marketed a home just like yours. So call me today for a low-pressure interview to discuss the sale of your home.